Superman, Batman, Public Enemies ran 1 hour, 6 minutes, and to me, that Ed McGuinness style of bodies, which don't get me wrong, there are a lot of good body styles. We'll talk about that with Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, but it's just so recognizable. And anytime I'm like, oh, I know that art style, it just makes me smile, makes me feel so positive. Like if I had to say, oh, that's my guy. Like my favorite person for the longest time was Tim Sale, the artist behind Long Halloween.
Oh yeah,
A bunch of other things, a bunch of things, obviously, but like that's like a claim to fame, if you will, because who doesn't know a Long Halloween, the Batman Long Halloween storyline, and the thing that always drew me to him is that every time I would see his stuff, I'd be like, oh, that's you specifically. There's just so few people that just feel like him. I feel like him, Jay Lee, and him have a similar style, but even Jay Lee himself stands out so much that it's like, oh, when I see Jay Lee, I'm like, oh, I know that's you. Hey, pal, type thing. But Ed McGuinness, when I see his style, or people emulating his style, that big body, the best jawline that you've ever could conceive, it was like, oh man, that dude, he understands the heroic nature, the way to present things is my point. And I just thought so much of this film was presented so smoothly, whether it be Amanda Waller or Lex Luthor, Batman and Superman, obviously. My goodness, so much, and for such a short runtime, so much stuff was happening.
Yeah, they kept the story going for sure.
I big fan of brevity, because so often in films you'll see 3 hours, 3.5. It's like, what? I have a life. Like it is. I have things I need to accomplish. I may not even want to do them, but somebody wants me to do it. Whereas when you see an hour and 6 minutes, like, oh, that's totally doable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I really like 90 minutes or under. Like when I see an hour and a half or under, I'm like, oh, I can totally give my time to this.
It depends on what story you're trying to tell, but this is just a day in the life of being Batman or Superman.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, we can
Well,
speed it
and the
along.
beautiful thing is they clearly have a long established friendship and history. And I say history because when it comes to the Lex and Superman storyline, whether it be a newspaper or conversations with other characters, we just know that these guys have known each other for a long time and have always been at odds. I'm just like, that way of getting the point across, the idea out there, big fan. I think that's why the interconnected animated TV shows they appealed to me so much because of how layered everything was.
Yes.
And so by the time you get to Justice League Unlimited, you have such a plethora of stories that you're like, I feel comfortable here. This world I am very familiar with.
Well, I think what helped too is, back then all the actors, they were in the same room and they would voice off of each other. And throughout shows, you're mixing shows and everything like that. Now we're at a point at Justice League, everybody has interacted or kind of knows each other to some degree. So
big fan.
Now it's like, especially if you're in the room, you got it, like, this actor, but you also know this character. So like the interactions, the dialogue, it always came up so mature, realistic, and just complicated, but like realistically complicated.
Absolutely.
It's something cartoons don't pull off very well.
I agree.
So.
When it came to this story, I will also say, not just was it Ed McGuinness's art, but I know the comics that kind of inspired it were written by one of my favorite, and again, I didn't even go in thinking, oh, he's one of my favorites. No, I was organizing my collection at one point. I'm like, my goodness, I have so much Jeff Loeb, it's not even funny. And they are among the top things that I just love to read and get lost in. Much like The Long Halloween, because he wrote that too. And Hush, he wrote both those stories. And so when I was rewatching this, I was like, oh, this is based around a story that Jeff Loeb had written. And so I don't know. It's comforting is I guess what I'm getting at when it comes to familiarity. And that's why the library of DC animated movies have always been something that I could always just dive into and be like, yeah, that's my favorite pair of shoes or whatever.
Yeah,
like I had a pair of Calvin Klein's once.
Yeah.
They were the most comfortable pants. And that's how I feel about these DC.
Oh yeah, those pair of jeans that you break in finally. It's like these are the ones you have for years. Yeah, I get that.
Oh my goodness, yeah. But I don't know. That's just how I feel about.
I think this movie pulls off what Under the Red Hood is like also pulled off. Obviously, they trim the fat, change things here
Yes.
and there, but they're one of those movies that like we're trying to be like really faithful, almost like we're not page by page, but like as close as we can with how.
Thank you for being here at Mr. Super Oz. This video is going out, and this channel only exists because I, Oz, founded Gamble Comics, which first release was Everlasting Survivors, a 68-page graphic novel called All Day Long. Available now. Follow the link in the description that will take you to gamblecomics.com. While there, you can get hats, shirts, posters, much, much more. But most importantly, the story itself.
We're trying to tell the story.
Exactly.
It's definitely one of those ones where like we're not trying to interpret a different way. We're not trying to use ideas. We're telling this story that was drawn and just making it work in an animated movie.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, I love it. It's direct.
Yeah. So I gave it a spectacular 6 out of 5 stars.
Oh yeah.
Because I always find it amusing when I say, "Oh, I gave it more than the 5-star scale."
Oh,
but
no,
it's just one of those. It's just one of those movies where I can always get lost in it. Whether it's Power Girl or Captain Atom, every character is distinct and important, and it's fun. Like it's a good time.
I think the cameos definitely help too. It's just, they're on the run, they're battling out, what baddie are you going to see, what villain.
Basically, all of them. It felt like it
was just so cool, especially like Batman. Like, it's one of those things where I think this book, this story in general, portrayed a way where I'm just like, okay, because he's on the run from these same guys that are giving Superman a run from his money. He's being smart though, he's just not getting caught, and like. He really has to keep his head on a swivel. Superman he's just getting he's just getting rocked and everything, and he'll be all right. It's fine. But Batman, he was really having to think, dodge and weave. And if Superman was down, he has to kind of be like, all right, how can I compensate for my downed partner? I know I'm not going to give away that part of the movie. But,
of course.
Yeah, and Toyman. I love this voice. I love this version of Toyman
so
just
much
because.
Fun. Well, and I liked when he said that the robot was made, or the craft, the rocket ship was made when he was in his basically his worship stage where he's looking up to them so strongly, and it's so well done.
That kid is just a menace, and it's just he would be us if we were 14 and super smart and had access to all of that.
Exactly.
Basically.
That's so much fun.
I think he's better than the modern interpretation of Toyman, but that's my hot take. I'll die on that hill.
Okay. I think each have their own appeal, but perhaps I think I can get behind you on that. I do think he's more fun, for sure. So yeah.
I just think he has more of an identity, just because Superman the animated series, that was a great Toyman, but you really never saw who was under the mask, and it was always like he was like Chucky more than like an actual person.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you like.
Well, it also gave me a little bit of the ventriloquist feels from
Batman
the animated series, but not in any insulting way, because I thought that was a fun visual presentation as well.
Yeah, creepy as hell too. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you for talking about this. Thank you for rewatching and going on this trip, because. Like, don't get me wrong. I could have just straight up read all the pages, and it could have been like beat for beat. But you know what? To me, it's just more fun to have someone to communicate with.
Play off of.
And I don't know. I appreciate you and everybody who's willing to be a part of the channel with me.
Guys.
And yeah, thank you everyone for watching us talk, and I hope you have enjoyed the movie as much as we did, because like there was just a time when DC was just hit after hit after hit when it came to animated movies. Like they had a lot of misses when it came to live action,
Yep.
but when it came to animation, it was as if they just had the formula down.
I will say, if you're a fan of Superman, just animated movies in general, if you're really narrowing down, especially because, you know, there's a certain movie coming out soon. Superman.
which is legit why that so much of the content on the channel is built around Superman.
I'd recommend Superman and the Elite.
Who?
So
I will say this. I had it on the docket to watch, rewatch.
Okay.
I also thoroughly recommend it. But the reason I took it off, and let's be real, I'm probably just going to put it off till Supergirl next year.
Yeah, probably.
But the reason I put it off is because, did you watch the Batman Reimagined video that was put out?
Yes.
So, immediately after, like, it was one of the most comforting videos I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no knock on reviews, they're fun, but I just want more. I want imagination, I want creativity, I want my vision. And so, immediately after doing the Batman one, I said, Superman, here we come. Not on video, but in real life. And so started plotting out the quadrilogy, 78 to 87 of Superman.
Okay.
And so I put that on the release schedule and pushed off Superman vs. the Elite.
Okay. Hey, you know, priorities. You know, it's just something worth getting to if you're really trying to just get a feeling of, you know, who Superman was throughout the years. You know, like the stuff that we grew up as kids, you know, seeing come out and just like, oh man, you know, well.
And here's what I'll say. It really shows Clark's intellect.
Oh, yeah.
And so, not often is that the case, but in Superman vs. the Elite, it clearly shows that he might not be equal to Bruce, but they're definitely not nearly as far away as you might often assume.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, because that's a really quality film.
Well, I think it's also a good film, too, because it brings a lot of things that people are asking online about the trailer. They're like, oh, wait, who are these robots?
Exactly.
In that movie, you're going to get, you know, kind of an explanation for why that's part of his lore. You know, some people are like, this is out of left field, and the movie's making it up. Like, no, he has robots, he has a fortress, he has all these things. He's a smart guy.
I've already done the review for All-Star Superman, but I think that's another story worth rereading if you haven't, or reading for the first time if you haven't read it, because of the robots, because of the fortress, because of Superman's intellect, which I don't know that Corn Sweat will have, because I haven't seen the movie, but assuming he does have it, both of those films really show off his intellect, his wit, his ability to be better, and not just, as some people I disagree with saying, oh, he's overpowered. I'm like, he's a great character.
Yes.
Superman, top quality things. But yeah, in 2 weeks, come back and we will talk about Superman, Batman, Apocalypse.